weapons, what we said to the Europeans is simply, first of all, this is in your neck of the woods. This is in your back door. You guys have got to step up and take a bigger role in this thing. And if you care so much about this conflict, you should be willing to play a more direct and a more substantial way in funding this war yourself. I think the president, and I certainly think that America, we're done with the funding of the Ukraine war business. We want to bring about a peaceful settlement to this thing. We want to stop the killing. But Americans, I think, are sick of continuing to send their money, their tax dollars to this particular conflict. But if the Europeans want to step up and actually buy the weapons from American producers, we're okay with that, but we're not going to fund it ourselves anymore.
What about Israel?
Well, hello, that's me again. Today is August 10th, 2025. It's Sunday, so I might as well give you the weekend update if you wish. In reality, for anybody who has any brains left in their head, basically what is stated in the beginning by Mr. J.D. Vance, that should be enough, essentially. And you know what I should say, I wash my hands for today, and that's enough. That's what you need to know. Obviously, I have to expound a little bit on the issue of Zelensky being in Alaska. Hey, Zelensky, in this respect, at least for now, he's an independent man, so to speak. Wink, wink. He's the guy who can go to Alaska if he's invited by some lowly life from State Department or so-called Trump administration. And you know what? He could be offered the job of, you know, serving the tea or coffee for heads of state, but again, I cannot emphasize enough the amount of butthurt, panic, desperation happening with, Europeans and, of course, Ukrainians. And so, obviously, we have to keep in mind, there are people, they are Manichaean type, you know, they have everything just black and white, either good or bad. There's nothing in between. And there are people who are maximalists, who are basically, well, most of them are not very bright. I'm sorry to say that. They do not understand still how the world works, how the clockwork, so to speak, of this whole, gigantic world civilization is, operating. But what can I say? I'm trying my best to educate people who do not understand. Some of them refuse to understand, others just merely trolls. But I love internet. There is a reason I love internet, not only because I obviously can come across to you and basically state my point of view and deliver some facts which are important, which you otherwise will not be able to get anywhere elsewhere. And so what I want to start with, this is more than 5 years ago. I love internet. If you go to my blog, internet remembers a lot of things. Some of them, of course, Google hides. It doesn't allow you to access them anymore because it's not, it's not profitable for them, let's put it this way. So, and as you can see yourself, this February 6, 2020, more than 5.5 years ago, I could go even further back, for example, 2016, 2017, that would be already 8 years, and it's called The Train Has Left the Station. It is about France, but look what I am writing about it, and I was warning this about this for more than 10 years actually. Here it is. But for Macron, and this is again, as I already stated, more than 5.5 years ago, expressing what amounts to a trivial geopolitical common sense is all about France. First, not willing to become American lunch, or second, France always acute fear of Germans, so yeah, it's the second one. Of course, France's nuclear arsenal counts heavily towards resolving France's fear of German resurgence, at least for now, but it counts for absolutely nothing when France will face what the United States has in store for European Union. United States needs EU dissolved and will eat each European nation after that separately. Macron figured that out, and so did some Europeans. So now they try to woo Russia as some kind of counterbalance. Obviously they failed miserably because they are bunch of the unprincipled hacks and cowards and, well, treasonous people, essentially, apart from being absolutely degenerate in pretty much any human or, well, sexual respect, if you wish. But this is 5.5 years ago. Then we go, you know what, in 2021, yeah, as you can see yourself, December 23. And I write again, it's after actually Russia's foreign ministry issued famous memorandum or statement, which many people consider to be the ultimatum. I warned for years that Europe is America's lunch. And let me tell you, I don't blame the US. Everybody wants to live. You die today for me to live another day and die tomorrow. It is a cold, hard fact of life in global capitalism. And considering the quality, quote unquote, of EU elites, also quote unquote, those people would rather lick Greta's boot and destroy lives and businesses than taking care of their population. Europe wanted it. Europe is getting it now, and this is the whole thing about obviously the meeting between Mr. Trump and Vladimir Putin. And what I want to tell you immediately, read my lips. Again, read my lips. Majority of people working in the establishment media in the West, well, that's the whole other story. Quoting Tucker Carlson, he said 50% of them, I think it's the higher percentage, he said that half of them are the a-holes. It's worse than that. Most of them are war criminals, unprincipled hacks who have no human integrity. So, and as the result, they are nothing but the bunch of the cretins who went to solve degrees to get some kind of I wouldn't call it education. Anybody with IQ above room temperature can handle this and become journalist. So, and they will continue to do what are told by powers that be. Powers that be, of course, being the so-called deep state, but in reality it's bureaucracy. But considering the fact that United States foreign policy is completely controlled by the Zionist lobby and neocons, they will be doing what they're told to do by those people. And so here we go about, or about the headlines of what is happening. And as you can see yourself, good Lord, it's just Kyiv independent. Okay, why not? Hey, they call themselves independent. Of course, they're not. But look at this, exclusive. Putin to demand Ukraine see new territory in Alaska peace plan. US likely to agree, Kyiv to reject. And here's the issue that, of course, Kyiv can reject whatever it wants, but it will be doing the same as Europeans, what will be told to them. And that brings us back to Mr. J.D. Vance and his statement on what I just showed you in the beginning as video that US is done funding Ukraine. Ukraine's European backers can buy the weapons from American producers if they want to continue supporting Kyiv, and the US will be okay with that, Vance added. But we are not going to find it ourselves anymore. This is not, obviously, as you might understand, just his personal ideas. This is what the Vice President of the United States, and he definitely speaks on behalf of Trump administration, despite the fact that some people in Trump administration, unknown of course, they say that, yeah, and Mr. J.D. Vance also said, oh yeah, we try to coordinate meeting of Putin and Zelensky. No, not gonna happen, but they need to say something to save their face. Reality is that as there are number of sources, including in Europe and in the United States, say that if Europe wants to buy, which was the idea from the get-go, American weapons and then transfer them to Ukraine, the first arrivals of the horrendously ineffective, in fact, is the very expensive junk Patriot Pack 3 is expected in the next 7 years. Oh, good luck with that, sure. Europe, and apart from the fact that Europe is becoming pauper, they will become the third world. I mean, this is just the way it is. And United States already have Europe by the gonads in terms of the energy. Without energy, Europe is, yeah, it's going to turn into the third world pretty much very fast. This is not to say that everything is bad in the third world, but no, I mean, coming from their grossly exaggerated, standard of living and things of this nature, we already can see here and there the indications of the complete collapse of institutions of the combined West, but especially in Europe, because they are paupers. They have no resources, they have no armies, they don't have real military-industrial complex, which you can take seriously and say, oh my gosh, okay, if Europeans do not want to buy something from United States, well, let them make it themselves. They can't. And of course, some people who still have brains left, is primarily in the military and intelligence, I doubt about it. They told already Europeans that, yeah, it doesn't matter what we do, you're not gonna catch up, period. Because to produce modern weapon systems, which are effective. That doesn't, I don't refer to American weapon systems. They are not effective. So you have to have the school of thought, you have the engineering school, design school, which allows you to produce the weapons which are actually effective at killing anything from the personnel and, humans or soldiers, to shooting down the very complex targets in space and in the air. Europe doesn't have it, and it will not have it even more. Despite the fact that we already know, for example, that Spain said, and told the United States to go pound sand with the F-35. But, what do I know? I just little guy, sitting here and producing some commentaries. And so, just to tell you that how much the panic isn't there is, oh my gosh, that is just really funny. That's the Wall Street Journal now say that, oh yeah, Ukraine, that in Europe counter Putin's ceasefire proposal. I have news for the imbeciles, because there are no bright people working in the Wall Street Journal. They cannot counter anything. They are chuvavas. And the fact is that they, find this, human trash, which they, for example, like from Ukraine, who work there as so-called journalists, and they report there primarily to confuse people with all kinds of the idiotic statements. For example, like this, as I already stated, NBC News reports that White House is considering, well, it's considering, but if you read attentively those news down, it explains actually that in the end, well, Trump administration is focused on the bilateral meeting, and that is the afterthought. But they need to, address this butthurt, and we all know what is happening. Now we have the other guys. Oh, look at this, Times, oh my God. Well, they are British, it's forgivable for them. What's up for grabs at the summit? And can Trump outsmart Putin? So it is written by Mark Galeotti. Mark Galeotti, the student of the famous Lehman family, he is the product of the degree mills in Oxford, in United Kingdom. So the guy has no clue about actually all things military, but he for some reason passes for the specialist. He has degree in history. Wow, So it's all, basically trying to address butthurt and trying to present, to shape the narrative as much as possible. Well, in reality, Huffington Post, I like how they use source. Oh, Putin's army is still taking large chunks of Ukraine's land, UK says. And look at this. Oh gosh, Vladimir Putin's army has been taking large areas of Ukrainian land over the last 2 months, UK intelligence has revealed. Okay, yeah, you mean UK lack of intelligence? I mean those clowns who are only good at basically terrorism, sabotage, killing civilians, but they're not good at the military analysis. None of the institutions in the combined West are. This is the basically proof in the pudding, of which I've been talking about for 10 plus years. I mean, these are clowns, and we have media circuits. Now, Mr. Trump, of course, as usually bloviates, but I mean, come on. The whole situation is not because Trump somehow actually wants peace. He doesn't. He would like nothing more than see more Russians killed, and Russia being disintegrating at some point of time, and then taking the chunks of it. But as I already stated, I stated non-stop. I write about this, books. I'm writing books about it. I'm writing articles about it. That logic of the circumstances is dictated not by some moron from State Department or from CIA or from MI6. It is dictated by the armed forces of Russia and what they do. And what they do what none of people in the combined West has any clue about, including their top military thinkers. They don't understand what strategy is. They don't understand how resources are matched to achieve the strategic goals. So they simply have no clue. They never fought real serious war. The last war, which was of course a very unique war that United Kingdom fought, I mean bravely, no doubt about it, and it was obviously Falklands. And United States still, you know what, like Al Bundy, who still remembers those 4 touchdowns, you know, from his high school days. They still remember those, beating the crap out of the retarded, backward, semi-literate, and pathetically unprofessional Saddam's army. So, they still believe that. Well, now they have those lessons basically taught them, and they are in panic. And the issue in the end, in terms of Alaska, for those people who think that, oh yeah, Vladimir Putin is going there, it's some kind of trap, they will kill him or something like that. Well, if something happens to the head of the nuclear superpower, United States is keenly aware of the fact that it is casus belli and it's World War III. And fact is, just for you to understand, if somebody still doesn't get the message, Vladimir Putin is the reasonable one in Kremlin. There are many people who have knives out, and they have nothing more than demolish actually whatever left of the military power of the United States. And if United States wants to escalate to the nuclear threshold, so be it. But this is too serious. Well, you remember what happened with the Austrian monarch. Remember, in 1914, Gavrila Princip, and, you know, so what can I say? But yeah, people can continue exercise their incompetence if they think that there are some idiots, working, in, let's say, Secret Service or FBI, which is now flooding, obviously, Anchorage. And that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm pretty sure that Russian FSO, Federal Securities Office, they will be there, if not already, on the ground doing appropriate things to prepare the meeting of Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin. But, so while this, you know, whatever, the butthurt, you know, the wailing, you know, of all those people who, especially Europeans, who finally recognize that they're nobodies. Nobody cares about what they think, and that is why they have now emergency meeting in the EU, and you will do what is told for you to do, because only people with the real power and real economy and with everything real which relates into the balance of forces in global geopolitics, they are the only ones who have their voice here. And Europe doesn't. And so, if we go further, there is continuing, obviously, you know, how to put it again, it's non-stop. It's on and on and on. They just cannot stop it, you know. And if you take a look at New York Times, and on New York Times now, Ukraine and its allies are concerned that President Trump and President Vladimir Putin of Russia will do a deal without them, and they try to impose it on Kyiv. This is precisely what is going to happen. So I don't understand who cares about the concern of Europeans. Russians do not care. Russians hate Europe, now the majority of Russians, except for some fringe, you know, basically strata of Russian society which still worships West and still believe in some kind of things which are absolutely now dispelled as myth, nothing more, because Europe will become the concentration camp, it will be totalitarian, basically locality, if you wish, and that's the way it is, and good riddance, you know. So, and And then, of course, NYT continues to, go about it. They also insisted that no deal can be made by Washington and Moscow over the heads of the Ukrainians and Europeans, whom Mr. Trump says must be responsible for the post-settlement security of Ukraine. And they insisted, as they have always done, that NATO will not shut the door to Ukrainian membership, even if it's not practical now. Yeah, they can say whatever they want. They can shake the air. They can continue to shake their fists in the air or thump their chest, what have you. Mr. Trump's deadlines, by the way, yeah, it's 2 days past the deadline. So what's happening? Let me tell you what's happening. The tariffs and sanctions against BRICS failed so spectacularly. I cannot even explain to you. But only moron couldn't see this coming. So if we, let's talk about the first economy in the world. By far, it's much larger than anything else there. So by much larger than American economy. So Beijing brushes off Trump's tariffs threats, and Foreign Ministry spokesman Guo Jiakun, I hope I didn't butcher his name, said Friday that Beijing partnership with Moscow remains consistent and clear. It is legitimate and lawful for China to engage in economic trade and energy cooperation with other countries, including Russia. Guo told reporters at a regular briefing, "We will continue to take energy supply measures that are right for China based on our national interests." And yes, so this assault on BRICS essentially, and the secondary sanctions as they call it, how this cretin from South Carolina, hello, fine people of South Carolina, continue to elect this imbecile and war criminal. Lindsey Graham thinks, he really thinks in the terms of, well, yeah, how many times? Intellectual level is saw the precipitous decline in the United States since 1991. It was precipitous decline, apart from the other things, which is becoming the pedophile central and all that. So what can I say? I mean, those people want to continue to live in the alternative universe, let them. Now I want to get you back a little bit to realities on the ground. I want to bring you again what Marat Khairulin and Colonel Popov, they posted 3 days ago. These are the buffer zones which Russians already created deep into the Sumy, Kharkov Oblast of Ukraine, and here they are. Let me remind you again, you see? These are the zones of the active combat, and essentially what you can see yourself, if to believe Mr. Trump's statements, which you shouldn't, because Mr. Trump talked a lot of things which are not true, that, oh, there will be some exchange. Well, maybe not, we don't know. And Vladimir Putin actually is going there not just to settle about Ukraine. It's about the overall, the situation globally. That is why he informed people from from Mr. Lula, Mr. Modi, Mr. Z, about everything. So, but if we go and look attentively at what is happening right now, yesterday, so as you can see yourself, yeah, Krasnoarmeysk, you see, a lot of red in there, Konstantinovka, yeah, the huge cauldron is forming there, and it will be classic Russian investing of city, basically, enveloping it, leaving a little bit of the road to the rest of the retreating troops to be killed there, and then the things will fall in the Russian lap on themselves. Now, as you can see yourself, all those bypassing, movements. So what can I say? It's active, extremely active. And then if we're gonna take a look at tally for yesterday, so as you can see, 457 UAVs were launched at Russia. Well, Russians shot down most of them. They managed to kill one family, though, husband and wife, in Belgorod Oblast, but that's what they do. There was some attempt of some Su-27 to fly against somewhere near front line. It was shut down immediately. By who we don't know. Could be Su-35, could be S-400, but yeah, it's a goner. And as you can see yourself, there are desperate attempts of inserting all those diversion and recon groups, into now Bryansk Oblast. Well, border guards actually slaughtered one of them, of Ukrainian group, basically trying to get into Bryansk Oblast 2 days ago. They ended up really badly. Most of them were killed. The rest of it, I don't know if they will survive their basically traumas and wounds. So anyhow, but it's not only that. Now we have Mr. Ryabkov, and mind you, Mr. Ryabkov is first deputy of the foreign minister, Mr. Lavrov. He is the second man in Russian foreign ministry. And look what he states today. Okay, what could it be? Ryabkov said that Russia has the latest weapons in addition to Oreshnik. Actually, this is machine translation. It's not exactly correct. Here is more correct version, which for some reason it translated better. Russia continues to improve its arsenal with the latest types of weapons, in addition to already well-known Oreshnik missile system. Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov said on the air of the Russia 1 TV channel. So, this is one of those things, the logic of the circumstances, which I'm talking about non-stop for since the start of the special military operation. That look attentively at the broader picture, and the broader picture is that Russians already, they made the statement on the 4th that they are unbound by any conditions, because essentially that was self-imposed condition after Mr. Trump killed the INF treaty, because he was obviously told those fairy tales about American military-industrial complex and that the hypersonics are coming soon. Well, in reality is what Mr. Ryabkov is talking about. Well, it's not just Iskander. Many people say, oh, that could be Iskander. Well, there is an Iskander, and the real range of Iskander, which is hypersonic weapon itself, well, it's way above 500 kilometers. So it could be 2,000 kilometers, but it's not about Iskander. We are talking about the new systems which are already either being tested or already in basically, well, how to say it, in the serial production. And it's not only just Burevestnik, Petrel, which we know is serially produced, and this is a terrifying doomsday weapon, but it is also the missile systems which make basically, NATO is defenseless. It's a paper tiger. Okay, so it cannot defend its capitals, it cannot defend its headquarters, it cannot defend anything, including the assembly areas of its troops. So, and that is why, for those people who, the cretins, the low-lives, one-cell organisms from establishment media, they are there just to shape narrative. And many people buy it, make no mistake. There are many morons who continue to watch the NBC or CNN and they believe that's garbage which is being poured. And especially when you look attentively at those American generals, which is now became a meme in Russia, for example. And so what can I say? Let them, we're looking at actions. We're not just looking at the words, albeit words sometimes are very important. So Mr. Ryabkov talks about something else. What could be something else? Well, if Oreshnik is not enough, I'm pretty sure that we know now that Oreshnik probably has intercontinental range, which it is. I mean, put one Oreshnik on Chukotka and it covers pretty much 80% of the territory of the United States, and the United States has nothing which can stop it. You don't need to go even nuclear. You can do it completely in the conventional way, even without explosives. But it's something else. And something else is the new generation of the hypersonic weapons. And as some Russian military professionals stated, especially after those numerous so-called tests of the Dark Eagle, which is a long-range hypersonic weapon, which doesn't exist. There's no weapon. There are a couple tests. They said, how about we really raise the, boundary, so to speak, of the hypersonic from Mach 5 to Mach 8. Because the United States will never reach this, not in a long while. And by the time, if it reaches it, it's going to be useless anyway. So, and this is all about this arms race of which I'm talking non-stop. And this is one of these major factors, major impetuses, which convinced Mr. Trump that, to make this offer, which Russians accepted, said, okay, reasonable enough, it's acceptable. That's how they stated. That's how Mr. Ushakov, the aide to Mr. Putin, described it. So, and this is not it. This is not just it. So if we take a look now the other interesting thing, there is a very, how to say it, it's an anniversary. In 1972, this tank, T-72, became the mainstay of Russian tank forces. And what can I say? Those tank forces since then proved themselves beyond the reason, beyond any doubt, that they are the best in the world. And you probably saw yourself this today. Russia operates a number of T-72B3s, which is state-of-the-art tank. It's based on the T-72, but it also has a completely new digital everything, from communications to actually data links for being completely engaged in net-centric warfare, together with this senior brother, if you wish. Well, it's not really senior; it's junior in terms of age. T-90M Prorыв, and Russia produces T-90s alone, 300 a year. And how many T-72s, we don't know. It's a lot, okay? So, and this turned out to be an extraordinary platform, extremely survivable, and it has, it has scored number of hits against all those best NATO tanks, with the exception of Leclerc, of course. French Leclerc tank never appeared for some reason in the special military operations zone, and this is the celebration. Russians love their T-72s, B3s primarily, so which are state-of-the-art tanks, wonderful tanks. And yeah, anybody who thinks that, oh yeah, drones decide everything, no, not everything. I mean, they are important, but yeah, United States even continues to even laments here, and I can completely agree with this, because this is absolutely true, and that United States lags behind Russia in terms of the drones. Well, what can I say? It's not falling behind. It's actually already fell behind, and the question is not just in terms of the quality of the drones. It's especially important in terms of the quantity which is produced, and United States is nowhere near. Russia is the country which produces most of the combat drones today by a mile, and they are improving constantly, and they are state of the art. And so, in conclusion, don't turn off the thing before I say my parting words for today, which are, of course, because something comes after that. But what I want to say, this is it for today, guys. And as always, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford, please support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee and two. That will be it for today for me. But stay tuned. There is a treat for you there. Okay. Have a nice rest of the weekend, guys. Bye-bye.
3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, Vladimir, the deadline is passed very strongly. Yep. Just to be clear, I mean the deadline for you to end the war in Ukraine. Yes, I know. I got push alert. So you don't give a shit? No. Jesus, help me out here. Could you at least make some excuse? Like, your dog ate the deadline, or one of your cronies fell out a window and landed on your laptop, and now you got a deal. Something. No excuse. War is fine. So you're not gonna? Yet. Fair enough. I'm gonna go play some golf, and maybe I'll see you next week. I like it.